What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Daily Refinement, coming to you live from inside my warehouse space, which is a 600 square foot storage. Inside here, I currently have 7,700 items, but I'm scaling down to around 5,000 items, and I'm going to mainly be a shoe store. But this is part two of my series of 100 things that I wish I knew before I started reselling. So in the chat, if you guys can hear me, please let me know, because I just want to make sure the audio is working. And if the audio is working, I'll get straight into it. I won't waste any of your guys' time. This second part, so I'm doing 10 tips per video, and I'll do 10 videos so it's easier to digest. This setup right here is the questions that I would ask you if I was your reselling coach. If you were to ask me, Chris, I'm ready to do this. I want to start a side hustle. Let's do it. Okay, so the first question I would ask you is, what is your financial goal net? What do you want from this? Are you trying to save for a house? Are you trying to make money for a vacation? Are you trying to pay down some debt? How much money do you need? And the reason why I ask you that is, let's say you want to make an extra 500 bucks, then I would just say, just walk around the house, start picking up everything, list it on all these different websites, eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, get it sold, get that money, and move on with your life. If you want to try something like you want to make $1 million, okay, that's very different. You need to take things very seriously from the beginning. You may want to talk to a CPA. You might want to get your line of credit all set up. Make sure your credit is good. Make sure your capital is in place. Make sure you treat yourself like a business. All of that matters, and it really starts with, what is your initial goal? So this all comes from the book, The Laws of Success, from Napoleon Hill. Think and Grow Rich. It's all the same book. It's written by the same guy. So if you guys are wondering, I've gotten this request, what book should I read as I'm driving around or sourcing? Just read one book. It's called The Laws of Success. You can use my Audible link in the description below, because they're a sponsor of my channel. Get that book for free. It's 50 hours. Okay, so every single book, and Tony Robbins and all these gurus all quote this exact same book. And in that book, it's the same thing. It starts with the first question, which is, what is your definite chief aim? You have to pick a dollar amount. Even if you change it later, that's the most important part. If you're just doing it and you're not sure what your goal is, you're going to do things randomly and you're going to get random results. So always pick a goal first. Then when you're talking to somebody like a coach or your friends or your mom, they can give you exact advice because they know where you're going. If you wanted to make $1 million, you wouldn't sell used clothing. You would figure out how to do wholesale. You try to get things in bigger bulk, because selling things on a massive scale requires a different kind of enterprise. Or if you really did want to sell used clothes, you'd probably open up a chain of thrift stores or something, because that's a large dollar amount. So it really starts there. The second thing is, what does a successful resale business look like to you? If you guys are in the chat, let me know how long you've been reselling. Comment in the section below how long you've been doing this. But what does a successful reselling business look like to you? Are you looking to be an owner where other people work for you? Are you looking just to be a vintage hunter and you want to go around and find the coolest stuff for your store because you love it, you love selling it all? I would say I'm kind of in that bucket. I really do love selling things. So I'm not just in this purely for money. If I was independently wealthy, I would still sell stuff. I like it. I like looking for the deal. I like hustling. I like looking for basically opportunities in the market. That's what I like to do. But for some people, they do not want that. They want to be purely numbers based. Chris, I want to make X amount of money and I don't care about reselling. I want to spend that time with my family. I want to travel. I just want to make money from reselling. So what does your ideal reselling business look like? Write that down. Does it mean you don't do any listing? That's probably the most common one. Chris, I just want to do the shopping. Usually people who are like that are not successful, because that's one of the easier parts of reselling, is identifying products that can sell for a profit. Getting them listed, shipped, sold, and consistency, that's a whole nother story. Okay, next question is, what's standing in the way of you reaching this goal? Is it you just haven't done it long enough? Is it you don't have the knowledge, you don't know what to sell, you don't have the processes, you don't have the energy? That's a big one. Okay, so if you are older, and as an example, I had a lady come in today to try working for me. I told her, this is a pretty fast-paced job. I use macros. I have, which basically automates some of the listing parts, and I'm using Mac. There's tons of shortcuts that I use. I'm gonna get it for you guys, actually. I have an 80-step process that I'm going to add into my spreadsheet for you guys for free, which is in the reseller field guide. I'm going to add this in a couple of days. For me to list an item on eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari is 80 steps. So this lady came in. I told her, you need to be pretty tech savvy because this is hard. Okay, the way that I list is on multiple platforms, and it's complicated, right? So you need to be on your game. And she's like, I still want to try doing this. And I'm like, okay, go for it. Because I'm sort of looking for younger people because not that I'm ageist, but so far I've had people come to my shop that are under 20 years old and they just immediately know how to do it. I don't have to train, hey, this is how you navigate the mouse quickly. This is how you switch tabs. They already know how to do that. So that definitely saves me a lot of time. But my point is, energy is a huge component of being able to make this work. It's what's holding a lot of people back. So if you don't sleep well enough, you don't eat healthy, you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to have the energy to do this. It's very hard. There's like a very high likelihood you will fail if you run out of energy. Okay, so what's standing in your way? Number 3 is how much time do you have during the week? The reason why the quality of the video is bad is because I'm literally live streaming out of my warehouse right now. So I apologize. I haven't figured out a way to get a stronger camera setup in here, but I will work on that. But how much total time do you have to resell? You guys should put this in the chat right now. Let me know what kind of people are in the chat. Do you do this full time? Do you have 168 hours to work on this minus sleep? Are you doing it part-time? Do you have 2 kids? Do you have 3 kids? Do you have 6 kids? Do you have 7 kids under 7? Shout out to Jen, who told me that she's trying to make a resell career, and she has 7 kids under 7. I don't even know what that looks like, having 7 kids under 7. She had 2 sets of twins making that happen. That's amazing, and she still wants to pump out a reselling business. Very cool, and very ambitious. But let me know how many hours you have per week, because that's very, very different. If you have less than 10 hours and you want to build a business, you need to hire employees. There's no other way to do it. Okay. Next is, let's talk about 3 different ways that you can source near you. Okay, so this is going to be probably local liquidators, local wholesalers. How do you look for that? You just type this into your Google search. Local wholesale near Akron, Ohio. Figure out what's around you, what companies, what local businesses are. And I want to go over a couple of things with reselling networking that are not part of this list, just because I think they're relevant right now, which is businesses want to deal with other businesses because of this one thing right now, the super hack. I'm about to tell you right now, this is deserving of a like button smash, okay? There are 2 things you can do to make your reselling business totally transform. One is you can have a business customer. Okay, a business customer is going to say, hey, Christopher Woods, I am a coin dealer. I need you to bring me 20 coins per month, and you have a guaranteed sale from me. Okay, that's a huge weight off of Christopher's shoulders, because now he can go find coins for that person. The opposite would be a coin shop saying to Christopher, at the end of our rotation, so every 3 months when we liquidate the store, can you come? We'll write you a contract. You can buy all of our liquidation at the end of the season. That will totally transform your business if you can either get a business customer or a business supplier. And what do those people want to work with? They want to work with businesses. They want to work with people, brands. They want to trust you. They don't want to work with a random guy who runs a store out of his garage. They want something more professional. So it makes sense to get a business URL, to get a store. A lot of the products that I am working on have their own website, their own brand, their own social media. So when I contact suppliers looking for, hey, I want to sell this, they can go to my store. Your store is your resume. This store that I talk about online, I don't use as my resume because it's a random store of random things. That's not something that somebody wants to do business with. Okay, so you guys want to represent yourself professionally, and that's the biggest hack I can give you for networking. So thrifting, friends and family, can they give you stuff? Can you start doing wholesale? Can you start doing liquidation locally? Write down 3 different ways that you can source, and I recommend 8 to 10 people that you can talk to, okay, that you know that can bring you stuff or supply stuff or buy stuff from you. Okay, so I do know the quality of this video is a little bit off. Hopefully the audio is okay, but again, It's hard to stream from inside of a black box, but I didn't have time to go home and post this because I'm trying to build this store up before eBay open, and it's really time consuming trying to get this store to a certain level. Okay, next is, what time of day do you list? This is very critical. Okay, so when people say, Chris, I want to list 100 items, and I say, no problem, when? And they're like, I don't know. Then I know for sure you will not do it. You have to know when during the day do you actually have time to do it. If you don't have a consistent routine for that, no one like accidentally gets into really good shape. Have you ever met somebody that's like jacked or somebody who's really skinny and in shape, and you ask them and they're like, I don't know what happened. This just happened. It doesn't work like that. You have to know when you are going to work out. Just knowing what time is like 60% of the way there. All you have to do is have good integrity. I list every day at 6 o'clock, and then you do it. That's it. Once you have that into your schedule, you will be able to do it. It's very, very important to know when you can actually list. Okay, not sometime in the morning. That's a horrible answer. I can tell for sure that your results are not on point if you don't do that. Okay, the next part is, when do you source? This is sometimes not seen because a lot of people have death piles, so they don't really do any sourcing, or they only do sourcing. But I recommend you take the same slot of time and you graduate. You start with, okay, I go to the local thrift stores. I go to these 4 or 5 stores. Then you graduate to, okay, during that same time, maybe I'll talk to a couple of different managers. Maybe I'll call some real estate agents. Hey, when you guys are cleaning out a house for sale, what happens to the stuff? That's a great question to ask. What happens to the stuff you can't sell? What happens to the stuff that needs to be cleaned? Can you call me? I'll come clean up for you, so you don't need to pay 1-800-GOT-JUNK to come haul this stuff away. I'm your connect, right? Come over, let me know. Build this into your schedule, sourcing and listing. That's most of reselling, okay? All right, next one is, where are you writing down your processes? This is my favorite one. Where did I put it? So for me, the way I write down my processes, you guys can see here, it's gathering all the tools. So right now I'm building it so that my workshop, all of the different tools that I have, tape gun, hammer, they're all numbered. So it's easier for the people to figure out. So I built this on Excel. I recommend you guys do the exact same thing. Jack Pittman, my friend, basically made this look really nice for me, but I'm gathering tools. I'm prepping the item, which is cleaning. It's taking off the tag, whatever is required. This is what I do for eBay. This is what I do for Mercari. This is what I do for Poshmark. How do I do the photos? How do I stage the item? All 80 steps are on this sheet. And I also have a different one that I'm making for Amazon stuff. So how are you recording this stuff? Do you guys use a notebook? Do you guys, oh yeah, that's a good point, Tom. I actually use Google Docs. I use call it Excel, but I use Google Docs, which is free. Although with free, you are giving that information to Google. So just remember, anything, if the product is free, you are the product. Okay, so when we're on Facebook and we're on Instagram and we're on all these tools, our data is why it's free. Okay, it's not really free. You're selling your soul every time you use one of these things. Okay, so you have to write down this stuff. Next is, do you have any other income? This is really, really, really important to me. Okay, so you need other income to properly build this resale business, in my opinion. You have to live on a different income and leave the money in this store. Okay, so right now, there's probably, in this particular store that I'm working on right now, there's about 50 grand worth of inventory that's from nothing. Okay, meaning I started with this store used to be called the Low Key Husky back in the day, right? And I started that store $200 probably a year and a half ago. I haven't taken any of the money out, right? So that store now has $50,000 after tax money in it, just inventory that's in here. The other store that I started for the experiment, which has been renamed, it was Reseller Field Guide, but now it's called Daily Refinement Consignment, because I want to do a consignment store and I want to have people bring stuff to me. In that store is probably $3,000 or $4,000 in that store. And I started that store $200 as well. I just never take any money out of the store. If you guys can create another source of income to live on, your stores will grow really, really, really fast, and you never have to worry about cash flow. So it's really important. Do you have other sources of income? And can we grow the other source of income that you have to pay your bills? That's like phenomenal. So right now, you guys know I like to diversify income. I encourage everybody to do this. This is why I did a show with Chelsea yesterday talking about micro influencing, starting a blog, maybe selling some digital products, maybe doing some affiliate links. At the very least, when your friend's going to buy something expensive, go on to Amazon Associates, make a link for it, email your friend the link. They buy that $500 thing. You make a 3 to 5% commission. You just made $15 for doing nothing except for signing up for an Amazon Associates account. Everyone can do that. You need to do that. It's free money. You should be buying stuff with your own affiliate codes immediately. Treat yourself like a business. Start learning all these different ways to make money. And then your whole life will change when one stream of income pays for your bills and the rest of it goes into it. Okay. Next is, this is the last one, guys. So if you guys are enjoying this, please smash the like button. The reason the picture quality is horrible is because I'm streaming from basically a metal box. This is considered a Faraday cage, but at least the audio sounds good. And it is hot as hell in here. But if you guys are still around, please smash the like button. I will give you my final tip, which is this is 1,000 times easier if you have a supportive significant other. Okay, so it's no surprise you see a lot of husband and wife teams that kill it. You see a lot of partnerships kill it. When there's more than one person that cares about the business at the same level, it's not just like twice as good. It's like 5 times as good because the other person motivates you to keep you going. And if you have a non-supportive significant other, it makes this almost impossible because it's so emotionally draining trying to build a company. Each time you try to learn a new process, I talk about this all the time, you will be stressed. And when your stress level goes up, your cortisol levels go up, you usually gain weight, you overeat, you have trouble sleeping. On top of that, you're trying to learn something new, which is really hard, right? And if your spouse is not supportive, it makes it very, very, very difficult. Okay, behind every successful woman is a dude that's very supportive most of the time. Same the other way around. Okay, because having that significant other, having that rock makes a huge difference. Okay, if you look at it, for me, I'm at peace at home. Okay, so the gentleman that I always quote, his name is Naval Ravikant. He wrote one of the best business books, and it's called like Love Yourself, something like that. If you guys want to pick up that book, I'm going to plug my Audible link in the description below. We'll give you a free Audible book. That is voted one of the best business books in the world, and there's nothing business related. It's just taking care of yourself. When you take care of yourself, then you don't do everything only for the money. It's not reactive, and that's how you build this business up. It's really important. So if you can have a great significant other, that's going to require a lot of work, and a lot of people don't put time into that, and I can see. Okay, I joined a mastermind call that was $500 a month to figure out what do people that earn $1 million a year or more do that's different than me. And it's relatively straightforward. They just have a lot of leverage. They have a lot of employees. I would say the average person in that group with me had 50 employees or more, and they earned more than 7 figures. And these are people, and I'm like, what does your day look like? Wake up, maybe go to the gym, probably not. Go to work all day, go home, have dinner with the family, drive back to work, stress yourself out to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, eat lots of junk food, go home, pass out next to your wife. And this was the recurring theme. Chris, I go home to a house full of strangers. That's kind of what it takes to build a 7-8 figure income. Okay, because it's really hard. When you break down what does it actually take to do that, usually they have a supportive significant other at home doing all the work there, right? Taking care of the family. Otherwise, how can you even do that, right? You can't, like, if you are single, it's really hard to pull that off because you have to worry about food. You have to worry about dating. It's not that straightforward unless you are just so into your business that you don't think about the other parts of your life. But honestly, a significant other is very common. I'm going to eBay Open next week, and you'll see something really common. The people who are doing the bigger businesses, like the BHFO company that does like 65 million on eBay, just eBay, they do 65 million. when you look at all of those people that run these large businesses, there's one really like a universal thing. They're almost all married with kids. Almost all of them. There's very few, like one single person up there on stage talking about how they built this giant thing. And it's no coincidence. It takes a village to run a family. It takes a village to run a business. And, when I look at it, it's counterintuitive. You would think that the people who have the most free time build up the largest businesses. Usually not. It's the people who have people relying on them and they build it up. Now, I'm not saying that you should ignore your family and grow it. I'm just saying that's usually what it takes. All these things I talked about in this video, if you write down what does it take to build a 7-figure income, it usually looks like 16 hours a day of busting your ass for 10 years. Okay, that's what it looks like, right? Usually. Of course, there are people who work smart and figure out some hack in the market and immediately get those results, but that's extremely uncommon. Most of the time, people earn these incomes because they deserve it. They really just put the work in. They slowly grew a company from a baby seed into this giant tree, and they have a lot of leverage. That's why the number one question, the number one thing I would ask myself before I started is, what is the amount of money that you want to make? Everything is dependent on that. Pat the Reseller is saying, you have not found a reseller-friendly spouse. I agree. You are married with kids. I know, right? Married with kids is a huge, huge indicator that you will make it. Ignore the kids, ignore the family. I know, right? That some people say that. When you have that much money, that sounds like it's true, but it's not. Most of the time, when you are a millionaire, if you guys read The Millionaire Next Door, and most of the millionaires I met, when they met their spouse, they were broke. That's really common. Okay, like that. When you survive from having nothing and you build it up, your relationship can be very, very awesome because she loved you when you had nothing. Now you have everything. Hopefully she still loves you. Sometimes that will break the relationship, but usually not. If she loved you when you were worth nothing, now that you're worth millions, she probably will still love you unless she became a douchebag in the process. You were married once before. Yeah, I mean, 50% of people who are married end in divorce, and 100% of relationships end. So it's not required. I'm just saying it's relatively common. The lady that won the eBay Shine Award last year, she has a big family. She has lots of employees. That's just the most common thing that you see. Big families, lots of employees. I know, right? She, why not he? I do see it. I see a lot of, especially in the resale world. There's a lot of all the companies that I mentioned before are all women run. So you have BHFO, that's a female CEO. You have the lady that won the eBay Shine Award last year. She is a female CEO. You have the Angie, the lady that won the Shine Award the year before, female CEO. In the resale game, a lot of it is female dominated. And I will say this: I don't think this is going to get me in trouble, but on Shark Tank, the TV show, women, if you are female, you have like thousands of percent more likelihood to return the money back to the investor. And Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, was asked, why? Why don't you only invest in the women entrepreneurs? They do such a better job. And he's like, well, I'm not trying to make my business decision based on whether or not they are men or women. It's just that all the money that I've received back is all from women entrepreneurs for a couple of reasons. And the main reason is from the realistic nature of their goals. So, for example, they'll say, okay, we're at 100,000 this year. We're going to try to do 120,000 next year, and we're going to give you back this much money. That's what we're going to do. A guy is like, we're going to take it from 100,000 to $1 billion, and they're nowhere near that. They make a lot of more aggressive bets. They may not understand their skill set as well. So it's very uncommon on Shark Tank for a male shark, or not a male shark, a male-led company to return the money back. Okay, it's just uncommon. Not to say that it didn't happen. It's just that Mr. Wonderful, if you guys want to Google his his talks on what makes Shark Tanks work, it's literally just like realistic goals and keep plugging away and reach it. It's really very boring, but I don't know what it is gender role wise that causes women to be more realistic and just knock out their goals. And veterans and women crush the Shark Tank pool for what it's worth. I don't know what exactly is the reason for that, but guys are definitely more aggressive with their goals. So that might be a reason too. Instead of just slowly growing the business and building something solid, they make some weird risks and destroy the future of the company. I don't know. Mom of two, married, own a restaurant and resell on the side. Crazy. Dita, that's incredible. The restaurant business is hardcore. I will say that in the Bay Area, it's very, very sad because so many of the amazing restaurants here are closing. The reason is because my parents were restaurateurs back in the day when they were around. And I thought about this. If my parents, like, basically when they passed, their business, they didn't own any of it. It was like they didn't know what they were doing. But I actually would have liked to own like a restaurant. I think I would be really good at it. I would be basically taking care of a small business. I think that's in my DNA from my parents. But the restaurant business is so brutal that no restaurant owners want their kids to do it. So it's like not common for a multiple generation restaurant, at least in the Bay Area. All the chains that are coming out, all these mom and pop places are being replaced with garbage corporate chains. Amazing pizza place being replaced with Pizza Hut because the people do not want to take it over. The restaurant business is brutal. It's 16 hours a day. The one thing I did learn from my parents was that they worked 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. And when I met the richest person I met in person, earned $600,000 a month. This person worked between 5 a.m. and 10 p.m. 6 days a week. So even though he's made more money than he can even spend, he still works from 5 in the morning till 10 p.m. 6 days a week. He loves what he does. He works with his wife. They own a restaurant in downtown San Francisco. And on Monday, they spend the whole day together, which I think is a beautiful thing. And then the rest of the days, they prepare the food and cook it. And they average right around $40,000 a day in revenue in their restaurant. Incredible. Very, very cool company. So it's cool to look at companies build, and it's cool to see people really do things for the love of it. And like, I want to just bring up one more point before I jump off. So if you guys are still listening, all the good stuff was in the beginning of the video. If you want to go back to the 10 questions I would ask you before you started a reseller, now it's just me telling stories. This financial independent thing kind of took over my life because when I saw people that are 29, 26, 28, and they don't have to work anymore, it kind of blew my mind because I was like, I earned more money than these people, but I'm not retired yet, right? I didn't save every single penny. I didn't take any of that extreme frugality stuff into consideration until now. Okay, so I had a friend, a really good friend, who's financially independent now and is the same age as me. When we were in college and we were working, he told me something that was really obnoxious to me, okay? He had 8 consecutive paychecks in a row without spending any money, okay? So he showed me his bank statement, bank deposit from work, bank deposit from work, bank deposit from work. He had 8 consecutive paychecks in a row. And I'm like, how are you making it from one paycheck to the next paycheck without spending any money? And he's like, well, I live at home and I eat all my parents' food, and you pay for all the stuff that we go out and do. And I'm like, damn, that's some kind of crazy thing you got going on there. But now I understand that the people who are in this financially independent, retire early kind of community, sometimes they're not the coolest people to hang out with because they never really spend any money. So it's kind of like a catch-22. And that, excuse me, that never really impressed me. But that's kind of a weird story and a weird way to end this chat. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will figure out how to improve the video quality. But again, I'm in the black box right now in my storage. It's super hot. I got to get back to work and build the store up before eBay open. If you guys are at eBay open, message me at chris@dailyrefinement.com, and I want to hang out with you one-on-one. I'm not doing anything for eBay. I just want to hang out with people one-on-one. I want to do interviews. I want to hang out with you one-on-one. Last year, I got overwhelmed with too many people trying to talk to me at the same time, and I didn't really get to know too many people. So I don't want to do that this year. I want to give you one-on-one time. Let's schedule a time, hang out, have lunch, grab a drink, sit by the pool, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.